Hi, I'm Jay Jacobs. Welcome to Going Beyond the Scale. So if you noticed my post from earlier this morning, I discovered something that was quite profound. And I'm really excited to share it because a lot of what I talk about here is actually more than eating and exercise and more than weighing on a scale. But this is something that to me is a game changer and something I've been interested in, but until this morning, I never really realized, I think, how big a deal this is for me going forward. And I have a feeling it's going to be a big deal for anybody that's here in this place that in some shape or form, you want to understand how you're eating, how your hydration, how your exercise, wherever you are in that well-being journey is effective for you. So a little backstory. If you don't know my background, years and years ago, I was up to 435 pounds and climbing. Once you get through 300, 400, and you're going higher, I mean, I don't know, I could hit 500 or 600. I have no idea. Biggest Loser helped me interrupt that, stop that, lost 181 pounds on the show, went home. 10 years ago, this all happened. I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary. The reason why that's important is because I've been able to be kind of in what I would call the rare air of not being perfect, but having dropped a boatload of weight in the past 10 years, I have done a really good job of maintaining my weight for not the exact what I dropped then, but pretty close to being where I was at my finale weight. And any of us that have had any challenges with our well-being and our weight know that losing weight is not fun, but it can be done, and many of us are successful. And like in my particular case, I lost and gained 100 pounds probably a dozen times. So I knew how to lose weight. I didn't really know how to maintain weight. So for the past 10 years, I've been able to do that in simplest terms to say, by being conscious of what I've been doing and visually journaling what I've been doing, tracking my weight almost every single day, just as a point of reference, not to beat myself over the head, but just to kind of keep myself in a particular range. If you know and see anything that I eat, what I share, what ends up happening is I love food. I love to cook. I love to eat out. I eat healthier than I did before, but I really enjoy what I'm doing. So I don't have some kind of real restrictive diet. But here's the issue. I've been wanting to actually, now that I've maintained this weight for a long time, I've been wanting to actually go to another level and drop more weight. And I've tried keto and paleo. I've tried all different kinds of things. Now, I will admit, I've been trying them. I've not been like 100% strict. But when you get used to the fact that you know how to lose weight, you kind of go like, well, you know, if I go down this particular path, I'm going to be able to drop some weight. What would happen is I would get to a particular place and I'd be like, this doesn't really make sense. Like, why is it I'm not eating, like for me personally, I will eat carbs, but I don't tend to eat that many carbs. So then when I would start to experiment, say with keto, and I'd be tracking my carbs, I'm like, I'm not really getting into ketosis. Is my system so like, I don't know, like squirrely that it won't? I couldn't figure it out. And I would try different things, but I really wasn't interested in going and doing crazy workouts all the time. I wasn't interested in going any kind of great restriction. But what happened was about 2 weeks ago, I'm always researching what's going on in terms of like, what are tools, what are things you can do to be able to help understand what you're doing with your body. Body composition over the past couple of years has been big for me because I really realized the weight on the scale makes no difference. It's really what is your body composition doing? So I've been a student of that, practicing that, doing probably about 5,000 plus consultations. So I have a good understanding of body composition. That's fine. It's still composition, but what is going on that's affecting that? Well, I found out about a product about a month ago called Lumen. And it is something that measures the CO2 in your breath and your oxygen, and it gives you a good barometer as to how your metabolism is working. Are you burning fat or are you burning carbs? And so I got one, I ordered it, and I was like, I think this is going to be great. Now, I will be honest, when I first got it and I was going to set the thing up, I'm like, oh, this is going to take a lot for me to figure this out. It seemed like there was going to be all these things I had to know and do. And I'm like, oh, I'm not one of those people that can be doing all this specific stuff. And for 2 weeks, I did nothing with it. It sat on my desk and I didn't do anything with it. And then one day I'm like, I just need to do this. So I turned the thing on and I download the app, and I'm like, whoa, this is just like, it talks to you, it walks you through what you need to do and how you go about it. And it became very easy. So what you do is basically you breathe into it in the morning. It checks where your baseline is for whether or not you're burning carbs or burning fat. When you go, and if you tell it that you're going to work out, you take a breath before you go do it. It measures that. And then when you get done, whatever exercise, if you're cycling, walking, strength training, whatever that is, you come back and like 30 minutes later, you do it again. And it lets you know what your body's doing. Now, here's the interesting part. This is why I said this morning is what I really learned. What I was seeing was that I wasn't really, quote unquote, losing any real weight. And when it was doing my readings of whether I'm burning fats or carbs, it kept saying that I'm doing a really good job of burning carbs, but it was trying to get me to start to burn fat. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on here because I'm tracking my carbs and I'm not eating a boatload of carbs. Why does it keep saying that I'm burning carbs? Like, where's the secret carb storage? So this morning, what happens is after 2 weeks, if you do this, after 2 weeks, it gives you what is called a flex score. Okay, so it's tracking, it's paying attention. You're putting some information in there. It's not hard to do. But I got my flex score this morning and I was like, oh, my flex score is, you can go from 0 to 6. And that's just basically, mine is 6. And when it says you're 0 to 6, you have what's known as a low flexibility, meaning your metabolism, however it's reading it, is not very flexible to, I guess, moving into this area of burning fat as easily or maybe as efficiently. If your score is from 7 to 14, you're in what's known as a medium flexibility. I guess your metabolism is more flexible, dancing back and forth between these two. And if your score is between 15 and 21, you have this high flexibility. Probably you're much more efficient. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I am still very much a student of this. I am not a subject matter expert. I'm a layperson. I think this is fascinating. When we were on Biggest Loser, we did a lot of things. We had a lot of medical things that really supported us, and we had body composition scans, and we had all kinds of ways to measure our metabolism, our BMR, basal metabolic rate, BMR. They were testing that. This particular tool, what I found, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, what I love about it is it was easy to use. And they supply you really easy to understand information, but I wasn't really reading what they were sharing. I was just like using the tool and thinking it'll be fine and I'll figure it out. Well, after this morning, I'm like, okay, the tool's great, but what's not great is I'm not bringing myself into all of the information, all the science that they have. I need to be doing a deeper dive into what does this mean. There's nutrition advice in there. There's other things that they give you, but I wasn't reading it. I wasn't paying attention to it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing more of that. And so it's been 2 weeks. This is Lumen. This is this little thing. Take off the top. You breathe into it. You exhale. It takes the information. It goes into the app. And what happens is, like I said, after a couple of weeks, you get this flex score. It doesn't mean that that's the kiss of death and that's your number forever. Now I have a baseline. Now I know how my metabolism was working or not working the way that I wanted to. Now what I have to do is take a little bit of a deeper dive, tap into all the information that they are supplying and become more of a student, because now what I know is I've become masterful at maintaining a range of my weight. I'm doing it really well. The numbers don't lie. They're there, and I'm in a really nice sweet spot for that. But if I decide that I want to go forward in a way that will serve me versus slaying me in terms of the amount of exercise, the kinds of exercise that I use, the kinds of foods that I'm eating, how is my body metabolizing, whatever, am I changing my flex score? Now I feel like I have a partner that isn't just a trainer or isn't a nutritionist that says you got to eat this or that. Because here's the point: body composition, metabolism, your blood, everything about you is unique to you. You guys know that. We all know that intrinsically. But unless you have these tools to be able to see the cause and effect of what you're doing, you're going to have no clue. I learned that over the past 2 years with body composition, because when I started doing body composition, I said to people, no good or bad numbers. We're going to get a baseline. We're going to see where your lean muscle mass is, where your percentage of body fat is, and where your hydration is. And then you're going to do some stuff, and we're going to come back and look at it, and we're going to see how did your body react to it. So I got to see firsthand that numbers are good, data is good, and people felt empowered when they understood what their body was doing or not doing. They didn't beat themselves up over a number on the scale because it wasn't just a number. It was literally like they were making an investment in themselves and they got to see a return or not a return, depending what they did. It was fascinating to see how people felt much better about this. This lumen piece, I'm telling you, this is just really cool because I'm only 2 weeks into it. Honestly, I'm only 2 weeks into it. But what I'm finding is in that short amount of time, for me, this morning, I didn't like having a 6 because it's like, whoa, this says I've had low flexibility. But what I like is that doesn't mean that it's a death sentence, that that's it forever. Now I can start to do things and see what works. So when I talk about the idea of going beyond the scale, this is another example of we have an amazing amount of technology that's out there, things that we can access and use. This is a new one, and that's what I'm committed to. I tend to use myself as a guinea pig, and I go and I research and look into it. I'll test drive something. I'll only share things with people that I think really has the ability to be a game changer. It's 2 weeks in, I get it. But I got to tell you, I've been doing this stuff for a while. As I say, this is my first rodeo. I've been doing stuff for a while. I really am seeing from what they're sharing and what I'm getting that I don't care what your number is. I'm almost pleased that my number was not a number that I really like. But now I kind of feel like, okay, this is making sense. I may think that by eating ketogenically or paleo or more or less carbs, somehow it's working for me. I don't know. Maybe I've been doing this completely the quote unquote a way that's not giving me a result that I'm looking for. I'm maintaining my weight. I'm happy. But maybe if I want to drop more weight, I need to crack the code. Think of it this way. Here's a metaphor. If you have a combination and there's like, let's pretend there's 5 numbers and you got 4 of the 5. Okay, that's great. I mean, you have 4 out of 5. It's a good percentage. But if you don't have that one thing, whatever that is, it's not going to make a difference. That's what I kind of feel that happens out of all this. I want myself and others, all of us, to have some freedom and some power around whatever the choices that we're making. I'm not saying you have to lose weight or you have to be a certain body composition. I'm saying, wouldn't it be nice for you to really know, like really what's going on and really what's your body's doing or not doing, or having the freedom to know how much do I really work out that's serving me, how much will really make a difference, or the way that I'm eating food and how can I enjoy food. And it's like, it's just a quality of life issue to me. It's a lifestyle issue. It's not a weight issue. That's what going beyond the scale means. It's not just, and I understand today I'm concentrating on conversation about eating and exercise and scale, but that's not, it's just one tiny part of it. But for many of us, it has been, up to this point, a very big part of our lives. And I'm looking for all of us to get some freedom around that so that we get clear about it and then we can move on to other things as well. And it's more in the background. So thank you for being here. I hope this was interesting to you. I'm not going to be talking about this every day. I'm probably going to come back maybe once a week, probably every couple of weeks, because this is going to take some time for me to really figure this out. But I'm going to continue to go forward with it. If you're interested to learn more about it, you can DM me. You can put a comment in there. I can share some more information there. But I don't know. I think you're going to really find this is an interesting thing, and you may become interested in it like I was. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. And I will be back tomorrow for Weight Loss Wednesday. Until then, have a great evening. Bye-bye.